Okay, first solo live stream. A little bit nervous. Welcome to the Shape of Horror podcast. I'm Bud. Nick couldn't be here tonight because he broke his leg, sadly. But get well soon, Nick. So tonight, I wanted to talk about 5 slasher movies that you should see. So I have a little slide presentation, and then I'll go through that. But let's go to the chat. We have some stuff happening here. So yeah, Nick Push. It's like when Shawn Michaels had his first solo match. Turned on Marty Jannetty, went solo, and the rest is history. He went on to become huge star, the Heartbreak Kid, the showstopper. So that's hardly the worst thing that could happen. Can everybody hear me? First of all, just want to make sure because when we usually do a stream, somebody's microphone doesn't work, and it could be mine. Haha, funny. So I'm gonna have to wait and hold off and actually make sure. Oh, there, I can just turn it up here. Apologize for the echo. Hold on. It's a working lion sacks of shit. All right. I appreciate it, Jake. Jake's tuning in tonight to watch my first solo show. Good to see Jake again. So Blake here. There's an emoji for underwear, but not panties. I mean, they look like panties. They're kind of hard to tell, but they work both ways. Slaughtered Lamb movie podcast in the chat. Made a joke a little bit earlier about Nick breaking his leg, and unfortunately, Nick broke his leg. So, yeah, appreciate the support, Slaughtered Lamb movie podcast. Go check those out; those are really good. They're really good at this stuff, much better than me. All right, who else we have in here? Yeah, Shane. Nick definitely broke his leg. Sad to say. I don't know when he'll be back. All right, so you guys ready to get into the 5 slashers you need to see? Let me get this in here. Number 1 here. It's called The Eyes of a Stranger. Now, I believe this movie's from 1981. There's some good things about it. It's a little strange, but you'll be happy to know that you guys know Tom Savini, who did Friday the 13th. Well, he does all the special effects for this movie, and they have some really good stuff. You see it and you can tell, oh, yeah, that's Tom Savini. So it's good stuff. So what's the movie about? Well, the movie's about there's a serial killer on the loose in Miami, and it's up to like a TV reporter, lady, female TV reporter. She's trying to track him down, and it's really, really suspenseful movie. Unfortunately, the killer, you do see his face, so it's not a mass killer, but stars Lauren Hughes. She plays the TV reporter lady, and it's the film debut. You guys know who Jennifer Jason Leigh is, right? She's been in a lot of movies. Hateful Eight, of course, our most famous Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Uh, are there any titties in it? Yes, Blake, there are titties in it. It's a serial killer, attacking women. So yeah, and it's from 1981. So of course there are titties in it. Um, so yeah, it's Jennifer Jason Leigh. I think she's obviously 18 in this. I won't give any spoilers there, but she's deaf and blind. And if you look on the poster here, she is referring to the 13th that's about to fight back. Yeah, the poster's cool. Unfortunately, there are not a lot of images from this movie online. Like, there's one of Jennifer Jason Leigh, and then of course the posters, but it's Yeah, Slaughtered Lamb. This movie is a little rapey. Unfortunately, a lot of 80s slashers were like that. Um, I mean, things have obviously changed, but if you haven't seen Eyes of a Stranger, sadly, right now the only place you can find it, I think, is on Amazon, but you have to rent it. And I think Shout Factory, as a matter of fact, I know Shout Factory has a 4K, or it's not 4K, it's just regular Blu-ray, but they have it. Um, if you want to pay some money, like Slaughtered Lamb said, it's a little rapey. Um, but here, let's throw up some comments here. I have some comments. How am I doing? Am I just completely bombing here? Yeah, Shane Emerson. The plot sounds similar to Dario Argento's Deep Red. Deep Red is a very boring, slow burn. Like not a whole lot, but it has a lot of gore. Yeah, I mean, a lot of movies do this whole like. There's not. This isn't going to be the last one on the list, so that'll be attacking women. So, but where was I at? Yeah, very similar. Let's see, Nick Puss. I've never heard of this, but it's like when Darren brings up random French horror movies. But yeah, this is an American movie, so um, yeah. Let's see here. Jake Blaster agrees. This is a good movie. It is a good movie. I mean, if you look at some of these slashers from the 80s, this one I would say probably rates pretty highly. So it is a very good movie. But let's move on to the next one. Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Ronnie. It looks like shit. I think you'll like it, Ronnie. I'm just gonna say. All right, number two. Now this one I'm gonna have to fight hard for. It's the newest made movie on my list. It came out in 2020. It's called The Stylist. Um, this is a fucked up movie. First off, this one very easy to find. You can go watch it tonight if you have an Amazon Prime subscription. If you have Shutter, it's on there as well. Not on 4K. But what I'll say about this movie, I'm gonna pull up some bullet points on this because I don't want to fuck this up. Um, let me get that comment off of there. Let's see here. Amazon Slaughtered Lamb says Amazon sold out of Eyes of a Stranger. I bet Shout Factory will probably sell this again, so you might be able to find it if you have like a local. I have a local store where you could just go in there and find any movie. Like it's like get all this boutique off-label shit. But maybe if you have a place like that around where you live, you might be able to find it in there. But back to The Stylist. Let me get some bullet points here. I tried to do a little bit of prep for this, but I didn't have them in front of me. Bullet points. No, I can't find them. Halloween 5 is not on the list, Jake. No, is that even technically a slasher? You know what, Ronnie? I will go look at that store and see if they have Swamp Ape. Appreciate it, Blake. Says the new logo looks good, but I appreciate it. Bullet points. God, I was not prepared. Wasn't prepared for this at all. Let me see if I can find these bullet points here for the. Just bear with me, guys. Just hold on. World and see what was going on. So you kind of just have to, find some shit on streaming because all the bars are closed, all the stores are closed. The pandemic really sucked. But so this one, I was at home and I saw it on Shutter. Thought I'd put it on, but this movie is so fucked up. So it stars. It's directed by Jill Gal. I can't even say this. Galvarganisian. Came out in 2021. The movie follows the story of Claire, a quiet and reserved hairstylist who harbors a deep secret. So I'm not going to tell you what she likes to do because you just have to see it to believe it. But it's fucking crazy. So she befriends, she has a friend named Claire. No, or Claire has a friend, and it's played by Brea Grant. You guys remember her from Rob Zombie's Halloween 2? I think she played Maya, Laurie's good friend, but she's in this. And she plays Claire's best friend, the stylist. So it just kind of, she's getting married, number one. So look, what else to say about this movie? It has a totally fucked up ending, like very shocking ending. So I hope you guys go check this one out because it's fucked up. I know I might get a lot of shit because it's very artsy fartsy, and you know, might not be for everybody, but I liked it because it's so fucked up. All right, so let's get to some comments here. So, yeah, Slaughter Lamps agrees with me. It's good, but artsy fartsy. It definitely is artsy fartsy. So it's very slow burn, but has some very gory, fucked up things. And the girl who plays Claire, let's see what her name is. It's I don't have her name here, but she does a very good performance. I thought like if enough people like this, they could have a franchise here with this because she's such a good character. But like I said, you can go watch that on Amazon Prime tonight. So go check it out. Let's say Jake Blaster's on an airplane, but he's still here to support his friend. But I appreciate it. Ronnie, thanks. It's you're lying. It doesn't look that amazing. Yes, Blake. Someone gets their haircut like pretty short cut. I'll say that. What did I do, Ronnie? I'm embarrassing myself in front of Aaron. What did I do? I have no idea. It's 3 a.m. over there. Darren must be in Europe or something, maybe? It's 1 a.m. Let's see here. Yep, it's the start of a 4-day holiday weekend. Tomorrow's Good Friday. I'm off tomorrow. Don't have anything really planned. Of course, this weekend's Easter. Happy Easter. Let's see here. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. So this one, it's called Alice Sweet Alice. It came out in 1976. That was a good year. I was born that year, so Alice Sweet Alice, it has the movie debut of what's her name? The fucking model. I'll get back to that. Alice Sweet Alice. So that's the picture I used on the thumbnail if you guys saw it. Pretty proud of that thumbnail. It's a little bit different from what I've usually done. But Alice Sweet Alice, it has some religious themes. It's kind of, I don't know. The Exorcist came out around then. So there was like a lot of religious kind of background horror films. Um, so it was directed by Alfred Soley. I think Bud's letting Darren's appearance get in my head. What did I do? Yeah, so Alice Sweet Alice, it features the film debut of Brooke Shields. She was very young in this, so don't get your hopes up. I think she's like 10 or so, 10 or 12. But film takes place in New Jersey and it's set in the 60s. And like I said, religion was a big part of it, a lot of family dysfunction. Um, so there's this girl, Alice, and Brooke Shield plays her little sister, and they're about to go through their first communion ceremony or something. And a murder happens, and throughout this movie, the masked killer. We have a masked killer in this one. Very creepy mask. Wears a raincoat, but it has a lot of really suspenseful scenes. Like, so if there's a couple bad things. This movie has some really terrible acting. I'll say that number one. It's like very over dramatic. Um, just not some good performances here, but the scenes with the killer stalking their victims, you know, very slick, very suspenseful, well done. This movie does have a twist ending, so w- the movies, other than the acting, I think is really good. This one you can watch this for free if you go to Redbox. They have a streaming service. You don't have to go to the box and watch it on the screen on the box. No, they have a streaming service, and if you go to Redbox, you can watch it for free with ads. So if you can put up with some ads, you can watch this thing. You can watch it tonight, right after you watch The Stylist. And if you want to rent it on Amazon Prime, I think it's like $3.99. You don't get the commercials, so that's about all you can do. But Alice, sweet Alice, very good one. Let's get back to the chat. Uh, right here. What do we even say about this, Blake and Ronnie? Ric Flair sucks. He's the nature boy. He's probably took your mom to Space Mountain, so just be careful. Shane, is your dick bigger than the one at the end of Sleepaway Camp? Ain't no way. Okay. Oh, Allie, I was wondering, but Ronnie loves Bud doing a solo live stream. I'm gonna watch this back and probably delete this shit if I don't like it. Allie, late. She got off late. What like I got off at noon today because it's Good Friday's tomorrow. Like how you working late? Appreciate it, Jake. Bud's killing it for a first gig. I just subbed. Wow, that is an honor. I appreciate that sub. It means a lot more than a Nick Push subscribe. So appreciate that. All right, let's get to the next movie. I'm gonna wrap this up. This is called 10 to Midnight. Stars Charles Bronson. If you've seen Death Wish, um, I mean, other than you know the rape of his family, that doesn't happen in this. He just plays a cop in this one, trying to catch the killer. And this is another one where the killer doesn't wear a mask. You could see his face. You actually know his name. So 10 to Midnight stars Charles Bronson. It follows the story of Warren Stacy, psychotic serial killer who's targeting young women in Los Angeles. And then Bronson plays the role. He's the cop, and then there's a younger guy that's his partner, and it's just basically a cat and mouse game trying to catch this killer. Lisa Ellenbacher, you might remember her from Beverly Hills Cop. Nick and Jake, I know you guys are big fans. Um, I think she plays Charles Bronson's daughter. Um, but yeah, this one has a lot of titties, Blake. A lot of titties. Um, this is one of the ones. This one took a hit in the '80s because it does. A lot of people complain about the violence to women. So obviously, this one gonna have might be a little bit tougher to watch, but You know, for a Charles Bronson movie, I'd say this is pretty highly up there. I don't know how you guys feel about Death Wish. I don't know about Death Wish. It has Jeff Goldblum in it. It's just very brutal movie, but this is a good one from Charles Bronson. So what do I have? Like one more left. So let's see where you can watch 10 to Midnight. Shout Factory has a Blu-ray here. Well, you can see me in the corner. Here it is, right here, 10 to Midnight. You might be able to find this on Amazon. As far as streaming, you can watch it for free. If you put up with some ads, you can go to Tubi. I don't know how many people use that. Or you can go to the Roku channel uh, on their streaming. So there's a couple places you can see it. But this one, a lot of violence. All right. So let's get some more comments. Slaughtered Lamb loves this movie. It is a great film. Yep. Charles Bronson, Nick Push says is awesome. Yeah, he did a lot of westerns, and then he like did Death Wish, and then just made uh, well, I don't know. I think it was like 4 Death Wish movies, and he made I think maybe a couple others, but they're all very similar. It's Charles Bronson running around with a snub nose revolver trying to catch a killer. So, did you guys like the Bruce Willis remake? Did you guys ever see that he did for Death Wish? I think that was probably the last movie where obviously we know what happened to him, but 5 Death Wish films from Charles Bronson, Shane says. I remember one where it was probably one of the ones in the 80s, but it had like street gangs running around, and they had a guy. I remember he's going to call the Giggler. You guys remember the Giggler? But I think I heard Death Wish 2 is pretty good. I don't really remember it, but I think they took a fall off the cliff with the Death Wish 3. Yeah, Death Wish 3. That's one that the Giggler was in. Allie had to get some stuff in before midnight tonight. Oh, that sucks. Let's see here. Southwest Wi-Fi sucks. Jake's on a plane headed back home. Appreciate it, Jake. Allie, she loves the Tubi. I've never watched it, but yeah, some of these movies you can just go watch. You can put up with some ads. Let's see here. So to recap, The Stylist, yeah, Alice, Sweet Alice, 10 to Midnight, and The Eyes of the Stranger are the 4 that I've gone through. Allie, love the shirt. Do you love the movie though? Halloween Ends. Tubi pissed off everybody at the Super Bowl. What did they do? I vaguely remember this. Which topic is that, Ronnie? What did I miss here? About Death Wish? Yeah, there's 5 Death Wishes, so uh, Ronnie says he's only seen the first Death Wish with Shane. With Shane. Yeah, Charles Bronson is Shane's grandfather's favorite actor. Yeah, the Giggler. Yeah, the Giggler. My favorite poster behind me, it's got to be the Halloween 4, man. That's that blown up look at that mask. It's just, man, that's a lot. How come they can't make the mask look like that when they do a new Halloween movie? So let's see here. 5 honorables. Valentine. I think it came out in 98 or 99. I think that's an underrated slasher movie. I think at the time people were kind of tired of the genre. When we got Scream, we had a lot of very similar. They were very similar. Like I Know What You Did Last Summer. There was a lot of them, and then when Valentine came out, maybe 99. Uh, so Valentine, people were kind of tired of the slasher back then, and it didn't. You know, it wasn't very commercially successful, but it had a stellar cast. I think Denise Richards is in it. The guy from that starred with what's her name and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the older looking guy. Um, has a I think Marley Shelton is in it as well. I think she played who she played? She played Judy in Scream 4 and 5. But yeah, the Valentine, Katherine Heigl was in it too. But Valentine has a lot of really sleek, nice little mystery to it about who the killer is. So I think Steven Spielberg's stepdaughter was in it. She was on Grey's Anatomy. I think she played Arizona. She's also in it. So that one didn't make it. Um, shit, you just put me on the spot. Yeah, off the wall ones. There's The Burning. That's like not really a slasher, but it's kind of it's still good, but it's a rip off of Friday the 13th. So a little bit. That one I would maybe put just about made it. So I appreciate that question. I have to remember that next time I do one of these to have some alternates ready. Um, what is my most expensive piece of memorabilia? It's probably does wrestling count? Is memorabilia? So I went to WrestleMania 32 in 2016. Had really good seats. Um, like they were cheap. I got them for like $200 a piece, and they were really good seats. It was at um, Jerry's World in Dallas. There, they had 100,000 people there. Even though I'll say this, I don't think there were 100,000 people. I think they inflated the number. And I don't even talk about. I don't see Cobra in my chat. I'm never talking about Cobra. But yeah, that was kind of a little bit of an 80s slasher, a little bit. But what was that? WrestleMania. So I went to the where they sell all the fucking memorabilia, the shirts and the shit, and they had WWE title belts. Hold on. So I bought this. It was like $500. So this is probably my most expensive piece of memorabilia. It's probably not worth that, but I think this is the dude. I just don't. Okay, I guess we'll have to talk about Cobra, but that's probably my most expensive piece of memorabilia. All right, the topic of this stream, dipshit. Okay, I mean, let's not be mean. It's hard to keep up with while you're doing a solo stream. See why everybody struggles with it. Nick is laughing. Bud, do you like movies about gladiators? Let's see here. I think I had that on my board here. I have this one.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
Could you guys hear that? You put it over the belt loops. That belt. Shane says Valentine is decent. Cherry Falls. So I need to go back and watch that. I remember watching it around when it came out. I've heard it is very good. Valentine is much better than My Bloody Valentine remake. Yeah, I think it is. For sure. All right. Bud, will you do a review of Angel from 1983? I've heard of this. I think it was on Showtime when I was a kid. I was forbidden from watching it. But okay, yeah, Cobra. Let's fucking talk about Cobra. It is a pseudo slasher to 10 to midnight. Did you guys know that this was so Sylvester Stallone was gonna do Beverly Hills Cop. He was attached to it before they ultimately decided to go with Eddie Murphy. But Sylvester Stallone, he didn't want to do a comedy film. He was into the action stuff. So he does what Sylvester Stallone does, and he goes in and he rewrites the entire script. And it's a bunch of action pieces. And what ended up happening is the stuff that he wrote from his version of Beverly Hills Cop became Cobra. Bud is not drinking Moscato. Bud is drinking beer. That's just it's a beer glass. It's a Saint Bernardine Watson, Waton. I don't know, but I'm drinking sour beer. I like sour beer. It's a weird thing from Bud. Sorry. All right. So where was I at? What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Cobra. So Cobra is Sylvester Stallone's version of Beverly Hills Cop, and it's just like, behind the scenes, apparently he was a real piece of shit. Treated everybody horribly. Nobody was allowed to look him in the eyes. Like the guy, the kind of plays the night slasher, really looked up to Sylvester Stallone and tried to get help on how to approach his role. And Sylvester Stallone said, "Hey, you're not allowed to look me in the eyes." So he was a real dickhead behind the scenes. He didn't read lines with anybody. He basically just showed up and put minimal effort in. And then he had his wife, Bridget Nielsen. Remember her from Beverly Hills Cop 2, obviously Rocky 4. Well, I guess they hit up a relationship and she married Sylvester Stallone. So she got to be the lead opposite of him. And this, she's the biggest problem for this movie for me. Like, she is so miscast. Like, she's the big evil bitch from Beverly Hills Cop and Rocky 4. Like, I just couldn't buy into her being the heroine, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I just not the best Sylvester Stallone movie. Any fans of the Porky like movie Private School? No, I don't think I've seen that one. Wayne Turner, it's 10:25 in Australia. Just got done eating breakfast. Tunes into the Shape of Horror podcast. I guess a lot of people like Cobra, so I guess I'm in the minority on this one. Uh, yeah, Allie, I know she loves Cobras because she's in love with Sylvester Stallone. She says he's the hottest man from the 90s. Come on. I'm not drunk tonight, guys. I'm just in the moment. Speaking of Beverly Hills Cop, Eddie Murphy turned down the role of Eddie Valiant in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Yeah, stupid. But he made up for it with the Shrek stuff, so he kind of made up for it. But the music in the video in this movie is so great. And Cobra was what we're talking about. Music video. Cobra is based on a book called The Running Duck. Yes, but a lot of this, like the action scenes and stuff, were definitely taken from his Beverly Hills Cop. Just imagine if we didn't get the Beverly Hills Cop that we got. Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner swore at him a few times in Sydney, Australia. Does that count? Yeah. Did you guys see Stacy Keibler? She went into the WWE Hall of Fame past weekend. She still looks good. She still got those legs going. But she was Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner's valet at some point. But all right, let's get to the last slasher. So this one, I bet a lot of people have seen this. Yeah, number 5 is right here. Sorry. Dress to Kill. Who knew that the idea of this movie would turn out to be a cultural war that we're having. I'm not gonna say any more than that. But Dress to Kill. There are a lot of things to say about this one. So it was directed by Brian De Palma. He directed Scarface, like another movie with John Travolta. I think it was called Blowout. Um, Mission Impossible. And this guy has a very extensive career and very well directed film, right? So it's a psychological thriller, and it follows Kate Miller, who's played by Angie Dickinson. I think she was probably in her early 50s, but she's a big part of this movie. Angie Dickinson was in a lot of westerns. She was kind of on her way out of the business when Dressed to Kill came out, but she plays a sexually frustrated housewife who goes out to has an affair, and then it just has some. So what I'll say about this movie, I saw this when I was very young, and the killer in this one, man, there's a scene in an elevator where the door comes up and you see the killer, and it just scared the shit out of me. But this movie also has Michael Caine in it, so it has some great cast. Keith Gordon, you remember him from Jaws 2? He was in Legend of Billie Jean. Um, some other big ones too. There's one on is escaping me. Fucking Nick Push's favorite movie, Christine, Arnie Cunningham. So Keith Gordon, he plays Angie Dickinson's son, and she's like teaming up with this hooker to, you know, solve something involving his mother. Nancy Allen, she's in a lot of Brian De Palma films, but she was also in RoboCop. She played the RoboCop's partner. Um, she's really good in this. She plays a hooker who's embroiled in this entire mystery, and you know, there's a slasher going around town slashing people with a straight razor. It's very so. This movie has some like the first 30 minutes of it, and I'm just telling you, stick through it. It's a little rough. The opening's very long before we get to the meat of the movie, and some things happen, but it kind of sets things up really well. But it has a very well made. I would say in a way it's a very artsy fartsy. So, but very slick. So where can you find this? So Dress to Kill, you can watch it for free on Pluto TV and Tubi. If you put up with some ads. So and you can rent it on Amazon. So there's really not a lot of excuse for you guys not to see any of these movies, except for Eyes of a Stranger. I mean, you'd have to pay to rent to watch it, but a lot of these other movies, some of them free with some ads. So you can definitely go check these out. So let's go back to the chat. Imagine if Michael Caine had a brother named Ko. Hmm, I'm missing. I'm missing something. Yeah, thanks, Darren. It was Christine. There's been a lot of other things too. Let's see here. Matt, yeah, I already put that up. Artsy fartsy, yeah. That's a very good and very short movie. It gets right to the point. It has a twist ending as well. I forgot to mention the twist ending. Uh, and a lot of these movies tonight have twist endings, kind of where they have shocking killer reveals. So, but these are just some of my 5 favorite slashers that you may not have seen. Doesn't look like a lot. Everybody, I don't think a lot of people have seen many of these movies. But Bud, you should do a video on Texas-based horror. You mean like Texas Chainsaw Massacre? The Town That Dreaded Sundown? One of the that one I would fucking I should have put that one in here. Has anybody seen The Town That Dreaded Sundown? It came out in 1976. It's based on a true story down in Texarkana. Allie might know a little bit about that. But yeah, it's to me, I think this movie, it's Steve Miner did Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3. And I think he was very heavily influenced. If you look at some of the things from this movie, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, how the killer is. Killer wears a sack over his head, and this is a true story, by the way. But very similar, I think, to Steve Miner's versions of Jason, especially with the sack over his head. And then he moves a lot like Richard Brooker did in Friday the 13th. A lot of similarities from that Friday the 13th 3 Jason to the killer in this one. So I have a great poster of it that I bought from Josh the Horror Guy that I've been meaning to get framed. But yeah, they did a remake of The Town That Dreaded Sundown. You probably don't want to watch that one. I'd say stick with The Town That Dreaded Sundown. But that's another one that should have been on here. Let's see here. Shane says The Town That Dreaded Sundown is good, really creepy. the remake, and well, he says the remake's not bad, but yeah, this whole thing's based on a true story, if you can believe it. And yeah, I think it happened in the 40s, I believe. Manhunter. That's the one with William Peterson. It was yeah, Manhunter is a really good book. If you go back and read the books, I think Thomas Harris wrote um, the Hannibal Lecter stuff, and Manhunter. They made the movie Red Dragon. You remember the one with Anthony Hopkins and Edward Norton? Well, Manhunter is, I believe it is the Red Dragon, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Wayne can help me out there, but it's a Hannibal Lecter thing. So as William Peterson, you remember him from CSI. Let's see here. Darren doesn't eat fast food. We've all seen that body. I do. I do. I eat fast food. Hey everyone, yeah. Put this up. Hit the like and subscribe button and get notified on the off chance that I come back and do this stuff again. So, favorite fast food joint, Blake, is Whataburger. Obviously. If you haven't had Whataburger, I know they're starting to build them. They're typically found in Texas, I think maybe a little Oklahoma as well, but I think they're going wider. I think they're in Kansas. And if you haven't had if you come to Texas, everybody, and you haven't had Whataburger, go in there. I think it's better than it's not better than Five Guys. I won't put it above Five Guys, but I think it's better than In-N-Out. So let's see here. I love these topics. Great choice, bud. Yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I've been talking about doing the slasher thing, and I tried to just make a video and put it out, but didn't like how it turned out. So I thought, well, you know what? I'll just go live. I don't have to work Friday, because of the test. You know what I'm talking about, Ronnie and Blake. Legend of Boggy Creek is another good one. I don't think I have seen that one. Tell me where I can find that, Allie. I'll check it out. Um, it says it's a true story as well. I like true crime. I used to read a lot of true crime books, and read about a lot of serial killers, a lot of fucked up stories. But there's one that is, to me, well, they're pretty equal. You guys have all heard of the Zodiac, but the other one I'm talking about is the BTK killer. If you haven't heard that story, man, that's like went on for 30 years or so, and he would write letters to the media and taunt his victims and shit, like call him on the phone. Real fucked up guy, and a boomer who got caught. So he got caught because he's a boomer. So if you haven't heard of that story, go find all the true crime documentaries, and if you like reading books, find out. It's called The Bind, Torture, Killer. And I think it happened in Wichita, Kansas. So the people that reported on the story locally wrote the book. It's really good. Really fucking scary guy. Let's see here. Wayne Turner got Manhunter on DVD for $2. Let's see here. Yeah, Blake says they have a few Whataburgers in Mississippi. Got to go eat that stuff if you haven't. I think you could have one more burger. No, so just Google Wimpy Burger. Wimpy Burger. Josh the Horror Guy, Sorority House Massacre, and The Edge of the Axe are two of his favorite slashers. Very low budget and overall aren't that bad. The Edge of the Axe is okay. I don't think I remember Sorority House Massacre. I know I've heard of it, obviously, but Edge of the Axe is I think it was made by it might have been a Chinese guy. Uh, Decided he was like a well-known filmmaker. I think it was either maybe it could have been Japan, but he wanted to come to America and make an American version, uh, slasher camp slasher movie. Those were big in the 80s, and he wanted to do his version. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Kind of artsy fartsy. I think you can find that. I think Arrow Video sells a Blu-ray of that if you want to find it, but it might cost a little bit. I would definitely wouldn't. Maybe you can stream it. Maybe it's on Shutter. If you have Shutter, check it out. Maybe it could be on there. Where was it? Let's see here. Allie says we'll have to see about Bigfoot and fuck Arizona. Arkansas? Fuck Arkansas? Fuck Arkansas, close to Texarkana. They have a Bigfoot. It's probably Ronnie. Could be. He seems like a really fucking tall guy. Speaking of Ronnie, Blake says that Ronnie made him watch a terrible horror movie with George Clooney in it. There's another kind of slasher movie with Brad Pitt from the 80s. I think it was like his first movie. I think it's called Cutting Class, maybe. It has Brad Pitt in it before he kind of became a big star. Very young Brad Pitt. It's like set in a high school, like a slasher's running around a high school during the school day and knocking people off. Killer Tomatoes, I need to watch that. That is a cult classic. I remember when I was a kid, I used to see it all the time at the video store because it had the big tomato with the jaws. I've seen like bits and pieces of it, I think. So maybe we should all go watch the Killer Tomatoes and reconvene and discuss it. Yeah, Ali says BTK was sadistic. He was yeah, bad guy. Golden State Killer was another scary one. Another guy who, well, he got caught by DNA technology, the ancestral DNA, which to me is a big hit to serial killers, aspiring serial killers out there. It's pretty easy to get found now, so be careful if you're out there. You might have to get creative. Darren, are chips fries? Good question. And he says, are fries chips? I think they're the same thing. Yeah, they caught him a couple years ago. Big, old, mean-looking fucking guy. The Golden State Killer. Return to Horror High. I've heard of it. No, I have not seen it. I'm gonna write these down. Return to Horror High. And something about sorority slaughterhouse. I'll probably never watch these, but don't hold it against me. Let's see. Happy Birthday to Me. Yep, that's another fucked up one with the great twist. Yeah, I think you can find that. Sometimes I've seen that pop up on Amazon, but I bet you can find that one streaming. Ron, yeah, remember? Oh, what was the movie? Return to Horror High. That was the Clooney movie. Wasn't he in one of the Texas Chainsaw Massacres, or was that Matthew McConaughey? They put Clooney's face on the back of the box to sell he's in it, and he's in it for 2 seconds. It was like that movie that came out that put she was in James Bond. Oh, man, she's really hot. Anna Armas. She was in Knives Out with Jamie Lee Curtis. She's really good in that. But she became a big star, and someone put her in the trailer for their movie, but it turns out she wasn't in it at all. They just put it in the trailer to get eyes on it. And some fans ended up suing the production company, saying that they were falsely advertised against. And I think that thing's going to trial soon. It's very, very interesting. Maybe Hollywood can't lie anymore to sell their movies. That might be interesting. It's like Scott likes the movie Bloody Birthday. Yeah, Friday the 13th and Halloween really kicked off the things about birthdays, Valentine's Day, holidays. And we'd have Thanksgiving. Ronnie and Blake, I learned this on their channel that they're filming. Eli Roth had to throw a trailer in the Grindhouse movies. In between the movies, I think it was Planet Terror and Death Proof, which I think is amazing if you watch it all together. But it was a fake trailer for Thanksgiving. And Eli Roth is making the movie, and it has Patrick Dempsey, from Grey's Anatomy and Scream. He played Shepard. No, what's his name? Fuck, man, I just saw Scream 6 like 3 weeks ago, and I can't remember. what his name was in Scream 3. Who cares? Um, a lot of people think they know who the Zodiac is. Like you see a new story like every year. Um, to me though, this one could be solved with if they can get a good profile and use the genealogy. I think we may find out who the Zodiac was if he really licked the stamps. Happy birthday, Wayne. It says that's a crazy movie. Yeah, Blake could be the Zodiac. No, he might be the Zodiac killer's son. I'm sure Blake Dad is a great man. Um, Zodiac is a slasher movie. Somebody said that back there. I want to go back to that. Yeah, a little bit. Has Robert Downey Jr. I don't know if you've seen the Zodiac. David Fincher. Um, David Fincher is very slick. I think it was one of the first movies filmed on digital camera rather than film. I think it was one of the first. Very pretty looking movie. It has Mark Ruffalo. Very fucking riveting story. The Zodiac. I don't know if you've heard of this guy or read the books, but another one that wrote notes and cryptic ciphers from codes for them to break, and he killed 9 or so people and never got caught. So hopefully, Wayne with Julie Brown. What did I miss? Judy Brown. She was in Police Academy 2, and she was supposed to be Mahoney's love interest, and they didn't tell her that they cut all her part basically. But she shows up at the end at the wedding as one of the bridesmaids. It's really weird. We're talking about the same Julie Brown, right? I think that was her name. Critters is on Tubi. Bud, what do you? Yes, I'm gonna see Super Mario Brothers, man. I've been I can't believe it took them this long to make a Super Mario Brothers cartoon. That seems like malpractice on Hollywood's part. Like, come on, good stuff there. Jennifer Aniston, well, she was in Leprechaun in the '90s. I don't know if she was in a horror movies in the '80s though, but she was in Leprechaun. She, had the big, big honker nose, big ass nose. She definitely got a nose job, like big fucking nose. Um, who was in Mac and Me? Blake and Ronnie did a really good review of Mac and Me. I don't know how they do it because that movie looked like the drizzling shits. Yeah. Let's see. Amazon Prime and Paramount have some old decent slashers. Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do. There's one I'm going to talk about. I may do another like a solo stream on this movie. I think you can find this movie actually on YouTube. I can't remember the name of it, but it's you remember '80s? They had the big aerobics craze. Everybody had the stupid headbands on and the leggings. Your mom's probably did the aerobics, the robicize, the Jane Fonda's workout shit. But this movie's set in an aerobic gym, and like they're having their yoga class or their fucking aerobics classes, and then in the locker rooms, people are just getting picked off around the fucking dance studio or whatever the fuck they did these things in. But it has such terrible acting; it's so bad. You guys remember that movie Miami Connection? Did anybody ever see that? It was such a piss poorly made acted movie. It has some really like funny fucking I think it was called Aerobicide, guys, but I think they have it had to change the name of it when they put it out, but sometimes that pops up on Amazon Prime. I'm going to do a video about that one of these days about Aerobicide. We'll save that. Phantasm. That's another one I've never been able to really get big into. I know a lot of people like it with the tall man and all of that stuff, but that one's just one like what killed it for me? It was that song at the beginning. I think his name's Reggie. Like he just pulls up in front of his friend's house and walks onto the porch and grabs the guitar and they sing this stupid, horrific, just movie ruining song. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Fuck that. I can't stand that song. It's a shame, and he's never seen it. They're like 5 or 6 or 7 Leprechaun movies, Darren. Um, there's one, The Leprechaun in the Hood. It has a really funny scene of the leprechaun token up. It's pretty funny, but they're generally pretty terrible. Maybe that first one's good. Powder was a good slasher. I've heard. Yeah, I've seen that. I remember that. Was it a slasher? Powder? I thought that was. Or am I thinking of the? Remember the alien that comes down and he's like all white? I can't remember. Is that the? I think it was called Powder, but he's like an albino or some shit. But maybe that is a slasher. I don't know. Taking Lives, Angelina Jolie, Kiefer Sutherland, Ethan Hawke. A more recent. Yeah, I think I remember seeing that. Because I remember Angelina Jolie in a yeah, and Ethan Hawke. I think they have a pretty steamy sex scene in that. Blake will like that. Matthew, dude, I must be way behind. This thing must just be Return of the Horror Highs. Marsha Brady, really, from the movie, not the show. Anna de Armas. I'm way behind, guys. Sorry. Victor Salva directed Powder. Okay, this one's for Shane. You need to answer this. Jenny Ortega, or I don't know. I think I have a preference there, but I'm not gonna get into that kind of sexist shit anyway. Um, the lawsuit regarding the movie Yesterday. That's right. It's the guy where the guy wakes up and he like nobody has heard the Beatles, and he's like a tortured songwriter who can't make a hit or anything. But he figures out the Beatles don't exist, so he's like pretends he wrote all the Beatles songs and becomes like huge star. Well, Anna de Armas was supposed to be in this movie. They put her in the trailer, but they ended up cutting her part, and some crazy Anna de Armas fans sued because it was false advertising. Yeah, I wonder if I think they have a shot. I'm gonna be honest with you. No spoilers for Scream 6, please. You got it. Sleepaway Camp does have a very shock twist ending. Made a star. That one. Great stream. Appreciate it, Josh. When is the next game? What? Oh, the baseball. Look at that. The Phantom Killer was a doctor's son in a town that covered it up. I'm so behind. Mac and Me was one big advertisement for Coke and McDonald's. Yeah, I remember. I learned a lot from that stream. Most importantly, I learned that Adam Walsh never got to see it, and it looks pretty bad. That's what I learned. Co-writer of Scream 5 and 6 wrote Zodiac, James Vanderbilt. I think he wrote some Spider-Man movies, if I'm not mistaken. From Hell with Johnny Depp. I think it had Heather Graham. Yeah, I remember that. It was I remember seeing it in the theater, and I don't think many people liked it. Hatchet franchise. Didn't Daniel Harris in that? I think she's in that. Blake won $50 on a scratch off, so he's taking a few days off. That's awesome. I thought McDonald's was laying a bunch of people off anyway. Blake, kind of surprised you have a job. Nick can't stand Johnny Depp. Of course, he can't stand Johnny Depp, Tom Cruise. Only the biggest fucking movie stars in Hollywood history. Nick can't. He doesn't like any of them. Go figure. Yeah, the live action Mario. Ooh, they got John Leguizamo. He's not even Italian. Yeah. Let's get above to 500 subs. Yeah, that ain't happening. Richard Simmons. Oh God, I'm so far behind, guys. Nick says we had a kid in elementary school that looked like Powder, and you put thumbtacks all over. God, what a dick. Yeah, Powder was albino. Wayne Turner has Leprechaun 3 in Las Vegas. So it tells you, it's kind of follows the Scream, the Stab movie. Like how they go to different places, like Stab in the Hood. I'm sure they made that movie. Maybe it was Scream 9 or Stab 9. Let's see here. 13 people in here. Yeah. I haven't even noticed. I haven't even looked at that, man. Don't have time to look all over the place. Let's see here. I think I'm just about caught up. So before I wrap it up, is there anything anybody else? I don't really have any big plans this weekend. So, like, what are you guys gonna do this weekend? Gonna hang out with the families, cook some ham. Can't really hunt Easter eggs because they're like $10 a fucking carton. What the fuck's going on in the world? Highlight of yesterday: the main character versus Ed Sheeran in writing a song and performing battle. Interesting. Anyway, so does anybody have anything else they want to say? Anyone? And what do you guys want to talk about? Like the chat, just yeah. Anything else? Like the chat just stopped cold. What happened? We're rolling in and out. What did I like? Did the stream crash? No. Anyway, any Aussie horror slashers? Oh, there's everybody. God, everybody was like the chat. I couldn't even keep up, and then it just went dead all of a sudden. Don't know what happened there. So, how does everything look? Did the stream look good? Like my first solo live stream. I've done YouTube a lot, obviously, but I've never done a lot like a long show like this thing. So, anyway, well, I don't have to work tomorrow, so I think I might go watch a couple of these recommendations. I'll see if I can find Return to Horror High. And I might need to find Cherry Falls because it's been a long time. I'll write that down. But anyway, anything else in closing before I take it out? Not really. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody for tuning in for my first solo live stream. You know, if you didn't see it earlier, please hit the like and subscribe and get notified when I decide to do another stream. I think this went pretty well. Allie's gonna go watch hockey. The Avs are kind of surging. My Colorado Avalanche, defending Stanley Cup champions, they're getting hot at the right time. So I feel maybe they'll have a good run and defend their Stanley Cup championship. All right, everybody. I appreciate it, Darren. I probably won't get any better. Like, it probably won't get any better than this. So Blake's watched Miracle with Kurt Russell. Well, I haven't seen that in a while. He's a good actor. But all right, guys, I'm gonna end it for tonight. Appreciate you tuning in. See you guys on the next one.